The bright blue screens of the command center flashed with urgent alerts. Commander Skthar's scaled skin reflected the blue light as he leaned forward. His four eyes narrowed at the unexpected data flowing in. "What is this energy signature?" he asked. His voice was rough, like stones being dragged across metal. Lieutenant Vranak looked nervous. "Sir, we detected it from a small solar system in Sector 87. It's not in our records." Commander Scathar made a clicking sound with his jaw. This was unusual. The Vraxian Empire had mapped nearly all systems in this part of the galaxy. They had conquered 17 star systems already. Each new species they found was weaker than the Vraxians. Each new planet added resources to their empire. "Prepare my ship," Scathar ordered. "I will lead this mission myself." 3 days later, 5 massive Vraxian warships appeared near the edge of Earth's solar system. They moved slowly past Neptune, then Jupiter. The ships were dark gray with glowing purple lines running along their sides. Each one was the size of a small city. On Earth, the sudden appearance of alien ships caused both panic and excitement. World leaders met quickly to form a response team. They chose Jack Miller to lead it. Jack was not a typical diplomat. He grew up on a farm in Nebraska and spoke in a calm, simple way that people trusted. As the alien ships entered Earth orbit, they sent a message in a strange language. Earth computers worked to translate it. "Primitive species," the message said. "We are the Vraxian Empire. Your planet is now ours. Surrender and serve us, or be destroyed." Inside the United Nations building in New York, Jack Miller adjusted his tie. He wasn't scared, just focused. Around him, military generals and scientists waited nervously to see how he would respond. "Open a channel," Jack said. When they did, he smiled into the camera. "This is Jack Miller representing Earth. We welcome you to our solar system and suggest a meeting to discuss trade agreements." On his ship, Commander Scathar was confused. Usually, when the Vraxians arrived at a new planet, the local species panicked. They either fought with primitive weapons or begged for mercy. These humans seemed neither afraid nor impressed. "Perhaps they don't understand their situation," Scathar said to his officers. "We will show them our power." He gave an order, and one of his ships aimed weapons at Earth's moon base. The Vraxian gunner fired a purple energy beam that should have destroyed the small human structure. Instead, the beam hit something invisible around the base. The energy scattered in all directions, leaving the moon base untouched. "Shields," Scathar shouted. "How do they have shield technology?" His science officer looked worried. "Sir, we're detecting energy signatures similar to our own technology, but with some differences. It appears these humans are more advanced than we thought." Scathar's skin changed from green to a dark purple, showing his anger. This was supposed to be an easy conquest, just another primitive world to add to the empire. But these humans had technology that matched the Vraxians. Jack Miller's face appeared on the Vraxian ship's screen again. "We'd prefer not to have any misunderstandings," he said calmly. "As you can see, we're capable of protecting ourselves. But we're also open to peaceful discussions if that's what you'd prefer." Commander Scathar slammed his fist on his chair. He needed to report this to his leaders. These humans were nothing like the other species they had conquered. "We will withdraw for now," he told Jack Miller. "Expect our return." As the Vraxian ships moved away from Earth orbit, Commander Scathar prepared his report to the High Command. How could he explain that a species from a single planet had technology that rivaled their empire? And why did these humans seem so calm about meeting aliens? Something wasn't right about Earth, and Commander Scathar intended to find out what it was before the Vraxians returned with their full invasion force. 6 months passed since the Vraxians first appeared in Earth's sky. Life on Earth continued, but everyone knew the aliens would return. Governments built more defenses. People learned emergency plans. The whole planet waited. In the deep reaches of space, Commander Scathar stood before the Vraxian High Command. The room was dark with only purple lights showing the faces of the 5 leaders. "These humans have good technology," Scathar said, "but they are still weak. They live on only one planet. We control 17 systems. We should attack with our full force." The High Command agreed. They sent 200 warships toward Earth. This time, they also sent their best warriors. These soldiers were bigger and stronger than normal Vraxians. Scientists had changed their bodies to make them perfect fighters. As the invasion fleet traveled through space, General Klovax prepared his troops. "Humans have 2 arms, 2 legs, and soft skin," he told them. "They will fall easily before our might." The fleet arrived at Earth on a cloudy Tuesday morning. This time, they didn't send messages. Hundreds of small ships dropped from the larger ones. They flew down to Earth, heading for major cities. In Detroit, Samantha Kelly was working her morning shift at Lucky's Bar. She was wiping glasses when the TV news showed alien ships landing downtown. She thought about running home, but her apartment was in that direction. "Everyone get to the basement," she said to the few morning customers. Then she went to the storage room and pulled out an old shotgun her grandfather had left there years ago. Outside, chaos filled the streets. People ran as armored Vraxian soldiers marched forward. The aliens were tall with 4 arms and scaled skin. They carried weapons that shot purple energy. Samantha watched from the bar window. A Vraxian soldier approached, looking for humans. She aimed the shotgun and fired. The blast hit the alien's armor, but didn't stop it. The alien turned toward the bar. Samantha ducked behind the counter. She grabbed bottles of alcohol and some bar rags. She quickly made 3 cocktails, but not the drinking kind. She lit the rags sticking out of the bottles. When the alien entered the bar, she threw the bottles. They broke against the alien's armor, covering it in burning alcohol. The Vraxian screamed and tried to put out the flames. Samantha hit it with a bar stool until it stopped moving. Similar scenes played out across Earth. The Vraxians were stronger and had better weapons, but humans found ways to fight back. They used whatever they could find. They worked together. They adapted quickly. In orbit above Earth, Navy pilot Frank Martinez flew his fighter jet toward the alien ships. His radio crackled with static from alien communications. He noticed something strange. When certain frequencies played, the alien ship shields flickered. "Command, this is Eagle 7, he said into his radio. "I think I found something. Their shields get weak when we broadcast on these frequencies." He sent the numbers. Within an hour, Earth's forces were using this weakness. They played the frequencies that disrupted alien shields, then attacked. Vraxian ships began falling from the sky. On the ground, General Klovax couldn't understand what was happening. His elite troops were the best in the Empire, but humans didn't fight as expected. When Vraxians destroyed their weapons, humans made new ones. When Vraxians learned their tactics, humans changed them. In his command center, General Klovax sent an urgent message to the fleet commander. "These humans are unexpectedly resourceful. Request immediate reinforcements." The fleet commander was shocked. How could one planet cause so much trouble? He ordered more troops to land. By nightfall, the Vraxians held some areas, but not as many as planned. Their invasion that should have taken hours would now take days or weeks. In the smoking ruins of downtown Detroit, Samantha Kelly met other survivors. Together, they planned their next moves against the aliens. She looked at the weapon she had taken from the dead Vraxian. "Let's see how this thing works," she said, studying the alien gun. Soon, humans wouldn't just be defending. They would be fighting back. The invasion was not going as planned. After 2 weeks of fighting, the Vraxians controlled only small areas on Earth. General Gnathor, who had arrived to take command, needed to understand why these humans were so hard to defeat. "Capture some of them alive," he ordered. "We must study them." Vraxian soldiers raided a university in Arizona. They took several humans, including Dr. Olivia Wright, a biology professor. The soldiers put the humans in special containers and took them to their ship. Dr. Wright woke up in a white room. A clear wall separated her from a Vraxian who watched her. This alien was smaller than the soldiers and wore a white coat instead of armor. "I am Scientist Trelak," the alien said through a translation device. "You will answer my questions about humans." Olivia sat up on the hard bed. She was scared but also curious. "I'm Dr. Olivia Wright. I study biology." Trelak's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. "You are a scientist too. Good. This will make our work easier." Over the next few days, Trelak ran many tests on Olivia and the other humans. He took blood samples. He measured how fast they could run. He tested how long they could hold their breath. He seemed confused by the results. "Your endurance makes no sense," Trelak told Olivia one day. "Vraxians are stronger, but humans can keep going much longer." Olivia smiled. "Humans evolved as persistence hunters. We can't outrun most animals, but we can outlast them." Trelak made notes on his screen. "And your healing abilities are unusual. Your bodies repair damage that would kill most species." In another part of the ship, General Ginthor watched videos of humans fighting. In one video, a human soldier kept fighting after being hit by an energy blast that should have stopped him. In another, a human woman lifted a piece of metal that looked too heavy for her size. "Explain this," General Ginthor demanded of a Vraxian doctor. "The human stress response is unique," the doctor said. "When humans feel threatened, their bodies release chemicals that make them temporarily stronger and more resistant to pain. They call it adrenaline and endorphins." The general watched more videos. Humans used simple tools in creative ways. They adapted quickly to Vraxian weapons and tactics. They worked together without needing direct orders. "Their soldiers must be specially bred for battle," the general said. The doctor checked his data. "No, sir. The humans who fight best often have no military training. That woman who destroyed a tank was a school teacher. The man who killed 3 of our soldiers was a plumber." General Ginthor smashed his fist on the table. "How do we defeat a species that gets more dangerous the more we attack them?" Meanwhile, Olivia and Trelak began to talk more openly as the days passed. Trelak showed Olivia data about other alien species the Vraxians had encountered. "Most species develop technology in a specific order," Trelak explained, "but humans jumped ahead in some areas while staying behind in others." "How?" Olivia thought about this. "We have many different cultures and ideas. When people with different views work on the same problem, they find more solutions." Trelak seemed confused, "But the Empire tells everyone what to work on. This is more efficient." "Efficient, maybe," Olivia said, "but not as creative." One day, Trelak came to Olivia looking worried. "I found something," he whispered. "Your leaders tried to make peace with us 3 times before we invaded. Our commanders hid this information from our soldiers." Olivia wasn't surprised. Why would they hide that? "The Empire always conquers. We don't make peace," Trelak said, but he sounded unsure. On the main deck, General Ginthor reviewed the latest battle reports. Humans had destroyed 5 more ships. They were using Vraxian technology against them now. His officers waited for his orders. The general looked at the reports again. His skin turned dark purple with anger. He threw the screen across the room. "These humans," he shouted to his officers, "they're impossible. Every time we find a weakness, they find 10 of ours." As alarms sounded across the ship, Trelak made a decision. He pressed his hand to the scanner by Olivia's door. It opened. "Come with me," he said. "I think this war was a mistake." 3 months had passed since the Vraxians started their invasion. Earth was damaged but not defeated. In fact, humans were getting ready to push back. Colonel Denise Brown stood in the underground command center. Maps and screens covered the walls. Officers worked at computers. They had been planning this counterattack for weeks. "It's time," she said to the room. "Operation Pushback starts now." All around the world, human forces moved at the same time. They had new weapons based on Vraxian technology. Scientists had studied crashed alien ships and captured equipment. They learned how the alien tech worked and made their own versions. In Detroit, Samantha Kelly led a group of fighters. She wasn't a soldier before the invasion. She was just a bartender. But she had fought the aliens from the first day and knew how they moved, how they thought. "Remember, they expect us to be scared," she told her team. "When we aren't, it confuses them." Her group attacked a Vraxian checkpoint. They used sound weapons that hurt the aliens' sensitive hearing. The aliens couldn't focus through the pain. Samantha's team quickly took control of the area. In other cities, similar attacks happened. Steve Johnson, a construction worker, led a team in Chicago. Linda Garcia, who used to be a wilderness guide, led fighters in Colorado. Paul Cooper, who drove a city bus, commanded a unit in Philadelphia. The Vraxians couldn't understand why these regular people were so good at fighting. They expected human military to be the biggest threat. Instead, people from all kinds of jobs were proving to be the most dangerous enemies. On a Vraxian ship above Earth, Dr. Olivia Wright and scientist Trulac worked secretly together. Trulac had helped Olivia escape from her cell, but they didn't leave the ship. Instead, they hid in a small lab where Trulac could continue his research. "Look at this," Olivia said, pointing to a screen. "Your leaders received our peace messages 6 times, not 3. They never even told your generals." Trulac's skin turned a pale blue color, showing his shame. The Empire has always conquered. The idea of peace with a less advanced species. "But we're not less advanced," Olivia said. "We're just different. And now we're learning your technology very quickly." They heard footsteps outside the lab. They quickly turned off their screens. A group of officers walked past, talking loudly. "The humans have taken back 4 major cities," one officer said. "How is this possible? We have better weapons, better ships." "The Supreme Commander is coming," another replied. "He wants to know why we can't defeat one planet when we've conquered 17 systems." When they were gone, Olivia looked at Trulac. "We need to get this information to both sides. Maybe we can stop this war." Trulac nodded slowly. "I will help you." On the ground, the counterattack was working better than expected. Human forces had pushed the Vraxians out of many areas. The alien soldiers were strong, but they followed strict plans and got confused when humans did something unexpected. Colonel Brown received reports from around the world. She allowed herself a small smile. "Send the next wave," she ordered. New human ships rose from hidden bases. They were built using a mix of Earth and Vraxian technology. They attacked the alien fleet in orbit. Frank Martinez, now a commander, led the space attack. He had studied Vraxian battle patterns for months. "They always protect their command ships," he told his pilots. "So we'll attack everything except the command ships first. That will confuse them." The plan worked. The Vraxian fleet split up to defend different ships. This made them weaker. Human ships destroyed many alien vessels. In the main Vraxian command ship, an alarm sounded. A message arrived from Vraxian High Command. "Supreme Commander arriving tomorrow to assess situation." General Githor looked out at Earth and the battle around it. His mission was falling apart. How would he explain this failure? How could one planet cause so much trouble? He slammed his fist on his control panel. "What is wrong with you?" he shouted at his officers. "They're just one species on one planet." No one had a good answer. All they knew was that humans were much more dangerous than anyone expected. The Vraxian Supreme Commander arrived in a ship bigger than any seen before. It was black with purple lights and looked like a floating mountain. General Githor stood straight as the Supreme Commander entered the meeting room. "Explain your failure," the Supreme Commander said. His voice was cold and deep. "The humans are difficult," General Githor said. "They adapt too quickly. They learn our technology and use it against us." The Supreme Commander was not happy with this answer. "Then we will break their spirit. Begin psychological warfare." Soon, Vraxian ships broadcast messages to Earth. The messages showed Vraxian victories against other species. They showed planets being destroyed. The aliens wanted humans to feel fear, to lose hope. But the effect was not what they expected. Bill Davis taught high school science in Ohio. When he saw the Vraxian broadcasts, he didn't feel scared. Instead, he noticed something funny about the alien general's speech. It reminded him of an old movie villain. Bill recorded the broadcast, then edited it. He added silly music and funny captions. He posted it online with the title "Space Drama Queen Has Meltdown." Within a day, millions of people had seen Bill's video. Other people made their own versions. Some added cat pictures to the alien faces. Others turned the alien threats into song lyrics. Soon, the internet was full of Vraxian memes and jokes. The aliens monitored human communications and were completely confused. Why were humans laughing? This was supposed to make them afraid. Meanwhile, something unexpected was happening with the Vraxian prisoners. Earth forces had captured many alien soldiers. The prisoners were kept in comfortable facilities and treated well. They received medical care and regular meals. At first, the Vraxian prisoners were suspicious. They expected torture or harsh treatment. When none came, they didn't know how to react. One prisoner named Kumar was particularly confused. Why do they treat us better than our own commanders treat us? He asked his cellmate. The humans also showed the prisoners Earth entertainment. The aliens quickly became interested in human movies, music, and especially cooking shows. Many Vraxians became obsessed with a baking competition program. The small human made a cake that looks like a spaceship, Kumar told the others excitedly. Next episode, they make desserts shaped like planets. In a secure facility, human officials showed captured Vraxian officers videos of Earth history. They wanted the aliens to understand humans better. "This is our first airplane," an official explained, showing old black and white footage. "Just 66 years later, we landed on the moon." The Vraxian officers watched in silence. One turned to his guard with genuine confusion in his 4 eyes. "Why aren't you ruling the galaxy already?" he asked. The guard shrugged. "We've been busy fighting each other, I guess." On the Vraxian command ship, the Supreme Commander was getting angry reports about the psychological warfare failure. Humans were not breaking. Instead, they were turning Vraxian messages into entertainment. "How do we defeat a species that laughs at our threats?" he asked General Gunthor. The general had no answer. Each day brought more bad news. Human forces were pushing Vraxians back in more areas. Captured Vraxian tech was appearing in human hands faster than expected. And now, some Vraxian soldiers were refusing to fight, claiming they wanted to watch the final of the baking show first. In their hidden lab, Olivia and Trelak continued gathering information. They had proof that humans had tried to make peace from the beginning. They also had data showing that humans and Vraxians could benefit from working together instead of fighting. "We need to get this to someone with power," Olivia said. "Someone who can stop this war." Trelak looked at his screens. "The Supreme Commander has called for peace talks," he said, sounding surprised. "Peace talks? Why would he do that after all this fighting?" "He says it's to understand how humans advance so quickly," Trelak explained. "But I think he's looking for a way to end this war without admitting defeat." Olivia smiled. "Then maybe we have a chance to stop the fighting." But neither of them knew that another threat was approaching Earth, one that would change everything. The peace talks were set to happen in a neutral location, a large space station that humans had quickly built using Vraxian technology. Both sides agreed to bring limited weapons and small teams. The human delegation was unusual. Along with military leaders and politicians, they brought a farmer named Alan Ross, a kindergarten teacher named Karen White, a plumber named Greg Fisher, and a social media influencer named Zoe Parker. When the Vraxian Supreme Commander saw this group, he was confused. Why bring these regular people to such important talks? He asked Earth's lead diplomat. "Because they represent who we are fighting for," the diplomat answered. "And they have good ideas." The peace talk started with formal introductions. The room was large with a round table in the center. The walls were plain white. Humans sat on one side, Vraxians on the other. The Supreme Commander spoke first. "We want to understand how humans advance so quickly," he said. "Share your secrets, and perhaps we can end this conflict." The human diplomats exchanged looks. They knew this was not a real offer of peace. The Vraxians just wanted to learn human secrets. Surprisingly, Karen White, the kindergarten teacher from Oregon, asked to speak. The human diplomats nodded. Karen stood and smiled at the Vraxians. "In my classroom, I teach children to share and work together," she said. "When one child has a good crayon and another has good paper, they can create better pictures together than alone." The Vraxians looked confused. Karen continued, "Humans advance quickly because we share ideas. We don't all think the same way. When different minds work on the same problem, we find better answers." The Supreme Commander frowned. "This is not efficient. In our empire, everyone follows the plan from above." "But look where we are now," Karen said gently. "Your empire has conquered 17 systems over thousands of years. Humans went from horse-drawn carriages to spaceships in just a few hundred years." The Vraxian leaders looked uncomfortable. For the first time, they were considering that their way might not be best. Dr. Olivia Wright and scientist Trilak arrived during a break in the talks. They had escaped the Vraxian ship and brought their research. "We have proof that humans tried to make peace from the beginning," Olivia announced. "And our research shows that humans and Vraxians could help each other in many ways." Trilak showed data on a large screen. Human creativity combined with Vraxian technology could solve problems neither of us can solve alone. The room was quiet as everyone considered this. The Supreme Commander was about to speak when alarms started blaring. A human officer rushed into the room. "Unknown ships approaching fast. They're not ours or Vraxian." Everyone moved to the windows. Large black ships shaped like sharp claws were moving toward Earth. They fired strange green weapons at both human and Vraxian vessels. "Draconids," the Supreme Commander shouted. "A warrior race from the outer systems. They attack any advanced civilization they find." More alarms sounded as the space station shook. A Draconid weapon had hit one side. "We need to evacuate," a human officer said. In the confusion, human and Vraxian soldiers started working together. They helped each other to escape pods. They shared information about the new enemy. Greg Fisher, the plumber, stopped a leak in the station that would have caused an explosion. Zoe Parker used her communication skills to keep everyone calm and organized. As their escape pod left the damaged station, General Ginthor found himself sitting next to Karen White. They watched as both human and Vraxian ships were attacked by the Draconids. "Now we have a common enemy," Karen said quietly. General Ginthor nodded slowly. "Perhaps it is time for the Vraxian Empire to try something new," he said. "Perhaps it is time to make allies instead of conquering." The escape pod headed toward Earth, followed by Draconid ships. The peace talks were over, but a new kind of cooperation was just beginning. Both humans and Vraxians would need to work together to survive the Draconid attack, and neither side yet knew just how powerful they could be when they fought on the same side. The Draconid attack created an unexpected partnership between humans and Vraxians. Escape pods from the peace station brought both groups to Earth, where former enemies now shared shelter, meals, and a common goal of survival. In the North American Defense Command Center, human and Vraxian leaders gathered around a large table. Maps and plans lined the walls. General Ginthor stood beside Colonel Brown, both studying the latest information. "The Draconids have damaged 20% of our combined fleet," Colonel Brown said softly. "They're more powerful than either of us can handle alone." General Ginthor nodded. "But together, we have a chance. Vraxian ships have excellent weapons. Human ships have better shields and can move faster." Colonel Brown looked at the Vraxian general with growing respect. "Let's bring our technologies together." Engineers from both species began working side by side. They added Vraxian weapons to human ships and installed human shield systems on Vraxian vessels. Within days, they created a stronger, unified fleet. In the darkness of space, the combined forces met the Draconid ships. Bright lights flashed as vessels from all three groups engaged each other. Gradually, the human Vraxian team began pushing the Draconids away. Then something unexpected happened. A group of Draconid soldiers boarded the Vraxian command ship. They moved through the hallways, harming everyone they found. Several Vraxian officers became trapped in the engine room with the Draconids approaching. Joe Martinez had been a warehouse worker in Texas before the conflict. Now he served as a space marine on the Vraxian ship. Seeing the trapped officers on his screen, he hurried to help them. Joe reached the corridor leading to the engine room. The Draconid boarding party was nearly at the door. The Vraxian officers had no escape route. "Please head to the escape pods," Joe said gently through his communication device. "I'll keep them busy." The Vraxian officer in charge, Captain Fuller, expressed concern. "You cannot stop them by yourself, human." "I'm not planning to stop them completely," Joe explained. "Just planning to give you time. Please go now." Joe positioned himself at the end of the hallway. He carried 2 human weapons and 1 Vraxian energy device. When the Draconids appeared around the corner, he began defending the position. The Vraxian officers used this opportunity to leave the engine room through another exit. They moved quickly toward the escape pods. Joe bravely held his ground, stopping several Draconids before they reached him. His final message came through the communication system to both human and Vraxian ships. "Please tell my children I care for them deeply, and also that alien fluids are surprisingly difficult to wash off." Captain Fuller and his team reached the escape pods safely. As they launched away from the damaged ship, the Vraxian captain sat in thoughtful silence. A human had given everything to save Vraxians who had been enemies just days earlier. On Earth, humans and Vraxians collaborated to develop better defenses against the Draconids. Ryan Murphy, who created video games before the invasion, discovered that his approach to virtual worlds helped solve actual tactical challenges. "In games, we balance different abilities to make things fair but enjoyable," Ryan explained to a group of Vraxian engineers. "We can use similar thinking to find weaknesses in Draconid vessels." Vraxian engineer Fuller noticed that his structured military training complemented human creativity nicely. "Humans think of unexpected solutions," he shared with fellow Vraxians. "We know how to refine those ideas into working systems." The two species learned from each other rapidly. Humans introduced Vraxians to music, art, and cooking. Vraxians taught humans about advanced mathematics and distant space travel. In the main strategy room, General Ginthor watched a recording of Joe Martinez's brave actions. The general had once disliked humans for being difficult to defeat. Now he felt grateful they were allies. He turned to his team, a mixture of humans and Vraxians. "The humans are remarkably capable," he said with newfound appreciation, "and I'm truly thankful they're working with us now." His team nodded in agreement. The human strengths that had once frustrated the Vraxians were now their greatest hope against the Draconids. Together, they had a real chance at success. The war against the Draconids lasted for 3 more months. Working together, humans and Vraxians created weapons and strategies that neither could have made alone. Slowly, they pushed the enemy back until the Draconid fleet finally retreated from Earth's solar system. The day after the final battle, leaders from both species met in the rebuilt peace station. The room was filled with tired but proud faces. Maps showing the defeated Draconid forces covered the screens. Supreme Commander Skthar stood in the center of the room. He looked at the human representatives with new respect. "We came to conquer your world," he said. "Instead, you helped save ours." Earth's president nodded. "When different minds work together, we all become stronger." Supreme Commander Skthar spoke carefully. The Vraxian Empire would like to propose a new alliance with Earth, not as conquerors, but as equals. The human leaders smiled. Peace was finally possible. Over the next few weeks, plans were made for a new galactic council. It would be headquartered on Earth's moon, with representatives from both worlds. Other peaceful species would be invited to join. As the plans moved forward, Supreme Commander Scathar asked to meet with a human historian. Susan Richards, a history professor from Chicago, was chosen. They sat in a garden on the peace station. Plants from both Earth and the Vraxian homeworld grew side by side. The Supreme Commander looked troubled. "There is something I must understand," he said. "How did humans advance so quickly? Your species went from primitive technology to rivaling the oldest galactic powers in just a few thousand years. The Vraxian Empire took tens of thousands of years to reach the same level." Susan thought carefully before answering. "Our progress was not despite our conflicts," she explained. "In some ways, it was because of them. When multiple approaches compete, the best ideas win." The Supreme Commander's eyes showed his confusion. Susan continued, "In your empire, everyone follows one plan from the top. This is efficient but limits new ideas. On Earth, different countries, companies, and people all try different solutions to the same problems." "That sounds chaotic," the Supreme Commander said. "It is," Susan agreed. "But from that chaos comes rapid innovation. The freedom to think differently is our greatest strength." The Supreme Commander was quiet for a long time. Finally, he nodded. "Perhaps the Vraxian Empire can learn from this approach." 1 month later, the new Galactic Council held its first meeting on the moon. The large dome building was filled with representatives from Earth and Vraxian worlds. General Ginthor, now the Vraxian ambassador to Earth, watched as humans easily made friends with former enemies. "Most dangerous species in the galaxy," he muttered to himself, "because they can make you love them while they're kicking your ass." In a research center built near the council building, Dr. Olivia Wright and scientist Trulac led a team of human and Vraxian scientists. They studied how the two species could work together on new technologies and medicines. Olivia and Trulac stood by the large window, looking out at the stars. Earth was visible in the distance, blue and beautiful. "Where should we go next?" Olivia asked. "Now that we have peace, there's so much to explore." Trulac pointed to a distant star. "That system has planets that might support life, but no one has visited it yet." Olivia smiled. "Then let's be the first, not to conquer, not even to study, just to explore." Trulac finished her thought. Together. On Earth, life began to return to normal. Cities were rebuilt. The knowledge shared by the Vraxians improved human technology in many areas. People looked to the stars with excitement instead of fear. Samantha Kelly returned to her bar in Detroit, though she kept her alien gun on display behind the counter. Bill Davis went back to teaching, now with stories about real aliens to share with his students. Karen White welcomed Vraxian children into her kindergarten class. The universe had turned out to be more dangerous than humans expected, but also full of more wonders, and humanity had proven that they were strong enough not just to survive, but to thrive among the stars.